Hello and welcome to Simudan and welcome to Train Simulator World 2. Now this is a continuation of my exploring the London Commuter line series. This will be the final part, the third and final part, where I will go from Haywards Heath and end this journey down in Brighton. Now for some reason I was unable to add some of the stations I wanted to stop at in the scenario planner. So I will endeavour to stop at Wivelsfield if I can actually manage to do that. I will also stop at Burgess Hill, and I will obviously, terminus, stop at Brighton. As we do that, two things. First, it's important to note that I have not been on any of these stations or even really experienced them much in almost a decade now. It's this part of the journey that I am least familiar with, even though it's the closest to me in terms of location. But it is what it is. On the other hand, I am going to be talking about Train Simulator World 3, which releases next month, and I'm going to be doing that on the way down to Brighton between the stops. So if you want to have a look around Haywards Heath Station, then I suggest you go back and look at my part 2 of this series, which will be linked below. In fact, probably be a link to the entire playlist, and then you can find what you want in that. But anyway, let's start moving, shall we? Alright, so get going here, and so Train Simulator World 3. I've heard some people that are really positive about it, and I think it's a really good thing. And I've heard some people say it is a really awful thing to have to spend, what was it, £40 on? It's a lot of money. And to be honest, and I want to be honest here, I'm not entirely sure I'm thrilled to be spending that sort of money for what we're getting. So for those of you that don't know, Train Simulator World 3 will be launching with all forms of upgrades and some new features. Some of those more obvious than others. So the first feature, I won't go too fast because I don't want to miss Wivelsfield. So I'll cover some of those features now. So if you see here with the sky, at the moment that's all just painted on, and it kind of doesn't, I mean, it looks okay. I don't find it too bad, if I'm honest. I think we're approaching Wivelsfield here, I'm not too sure. I don't know. It's far too straight, this piece of track. But yeah, I'm not actually. So yeah, we're getting a new skybox now. I don't think this one looks too bad, but they're doing a new improved skybox. So this is just like painted on. So it's all in 2D. It's a 2D image made to sort of look 3D by players seeing it miles and miles and in the distance there. The new skybox will actually be there. It will be 3D. There'll be actual sort of objects. Now, somewhere along here, there's a little viaduct. And coming under it on the road, here it is. So this road down here, this is called Rocky Lane. And this is not like that in real life. This is all very much viaducty. Here we go, there's some viaduct there. Actually, that bridge I'm sure is arched, but and that's the main road between Haywards Heath, or one of the two main roads linking Haywards Heath and Burgess Hill. Now, confusingly, Wivelsfield is actually a village far in that direction. Wivelsfield Station itself is actually in Burgess Hill. But anyway, back to the skybox. I'm not thrilled with. I am thrilled with it. I love the idea of it being improved. I love the idea of this, beautiful sky. Actual images that are going to be 3D, actually filling up the same space you are in yourself. Who wouldn't like the idea of that? It's an improvement, right, on top of what we've already got, which is already a good thing. They're also adding other improvements, so there'll be lighting improvements where I don't quite understand the science of it all, if I'm honest, but they're going to be improving the lighting so it will look far more lifelike in terms of lighting. So here's Wivelsfield. We will stop here. Again, lighting on a... Where are the stop markers? Is that my stop marker? There's my stop marker for 9 to 12. I'm probably past the 4 car marker then. Again, really good idea having lighting improvements. Anything that improves the graphics of the game, it's actually a really good thing by my book.
And on all train services. This includes e-cigarettes.
But where that falls down is that we're paying for this upgrade. Now, here, I'll come back to this in a minute because there's other improvements that they're putting in, and all of them added together, maybe it's worth the money, maybe it's not. So let's have a look. You've got I might as well grab this poster while I'm here. So you've also got things like tunnel flare, which is another lighting improvement. So as you come out of a tunnel, it's going to flare, and digitally in game, it will make it look like your eyes are adjusting. Which sounds fair, right? Sounds good. That's another good improvement. You're going to get so like here we've got the third rail, and you're going to get an improvement with that as well, where we're going to get sparks coming off electric trains, and they'll be dependent on variants like the weather and how. Now, I don't actually know this is here. I'll be honest, it might be. I don't know. I can't remember. It's a long time since I've been on this station. But anyway, yeah. So you're getting that tunnel flare, and getting a really good positive look on that, which is nice, right? That's a good thing. So I'm going to pause on this discussion for a second. So this is Wivelsfield. Now, I'm fairly certain that actually goes that way. In fact, I'm fairly certain it's not even a thing like this at all. I don't seem to recall it being brick at all. I think it's pretty much a whole tin structure all the way down to the road. And you come along the road, and you've got a whole tin structure coming up the other side. I'm not positive, but I'm fairly certain that's the way it works. And there's the road down there. And right here, in real life, there's a massive row of shops.
Please tell a member of staff or the police.
And on this side, so the bridge here, where the road goes under, sort of stops that row of shops, and then it's all sort of housing on this side. So, yeah, they've not done a very good job of modelling that, but as I say, the station itself, it kind of looks right. But it's not this railing, it's like horrible concrete a horrible concrete fence all the way along the station. And as I say, I'm fairly certain this isn't here, but don't quote me on that, I could be wrong. So there you go, that is Wivelsfield. That's my take on Wivelsfield. As I say, it's been a long time since I've been on this station. Right, so in other terms of what they're adding to Train Sim World 3, they're also going to have improved weather. Now this is a big one for me. They're going to have what's called dynamic weather, which is actually probably one of the things I'm most excited about, actually having a dynamic sense of weather. Where it could be raining 1 minute, then it might brighten up, and and then, oh look, it's now coming to rain again, or now we've got a thunderstorm. That's brilliant, because it means weather doesn't stay the same. Like, especially even on a route like this, going from one end to the other, you can guarantee it's almost not going to be, British weather. It's not going to be the same one end to the other. Now you might question why I'm going so slow here. It's because I want to stop on this junction here and take a quick gander. So yeah, improved weather. Awesome idea. I'm really excited for that. They're also going to improve the UI, so the menus. Now they've done some changes over the time that Train Sim World 2 has been around in terms of the UI and getting around that. Right, I want to stop over this junction. I want to have a look. So I'm actually going to jump out the train here, and I'm going to take a wander down there. Obviously, you wouldn't actually find anyone doing this in reality, but they won't let me wander down there. Now, funny enough, I think there, it almost looks like a bridge, right? Now, there's a road, yeah, it looks like a bridge. Now, there's a road that goes along there, and there ain't no bridge. That there would be a level crossing. And that, for those of you that are wondering what this branch line is the line that goes off toward Lewes. And this is the way that trains from Eastbourne get up to London. And again, Lewes I covered, and I showed you the other end of this line in my East Coast Way exploration. So yeah, there you go. I've not done a brilliant job of modelling that, but then I suppose they're not really expecting you to go down there at all, are they? Right, onward. Okay, so yeah, as I say, they've already made adjustments to the UI a little bit, but apparently these are a little bit more comprehensive, which UI changes are always a bit odd to me, because whenever a company makes a UI change, so I play on Xbox occasionally, and over the years you've got, especially in the Xbox 360 era, they changed the dashboard, so the UI of the Xbox, about every other Saturday. I'm sure of it. And each time they said, oh, it will make it so much easier, it's more ergonomic for you, it will be brilliant. And every single time it's like I've got to relearn how to use this machine. This expensive bit of kit that I've got here, I've got to relearn it. So I'm always in two minds really on that. So there's a pub on that corner there. Where is it? That corner there. Might be that corner there. Should probably stop the train, shouldn't I? Train stopped. Right, again, Burgess Hill. I think I've only been on this station once. There is a car park down here somewhere. Not quite sure it's like that. I don't know. So this is quite true to life in the sense that this comes up. and over, and you've got the ticket office at the top there. This ends, I know, before the bridge. At the top of the bridge there's a lot more buildings around than what we're seeing here, and they haven't even modelled a door for the ticket hall. How do I expect people to get off this station? I guess through the car park, but I'm not convinced that's incredibly correct. Well, that's a bit of a disappointment. Again, that's about as much as I can show you on this station. I've been here once, come down and got a train to Brighton, and that was it. But I do know there's a way through to the ticket hall up there. There you go. That is Burgess Hill. Close the doors. So, yeah, my point I was making on the UI is that if I'm to use a UI and it's new, I've got to relearn it. I'm not convinced. I mean, change is a good thing sometimes. Whether this will be a good change, I honestly couldn't tell you. I really couldn't. And the final thing I'm going to talk about in relation to TSW3 is the training centre. So the training centre, they're adding it's basically a new map. They're saying it's free roam, so you can actually walk around it, and you can just dive in there, drive trains around at your leisure. It's based on a German testing track, but not completely. I don't think they had the licensing to actually make the track completely, so it's based on, but it's taking a bit of creative license. You know, and that's fine. I think that's a fairly okay thing to do. But again, you know, it is what it is, and it's the idea is to take things, take all the training out of the game, put them into this one map, which I actually agree with. It stops you having, every time you come into a new route, you have to go there, look up, look down, look all around, and it gets really irritating. So yeah, I do see what they're doing, and I think actually this is one addition that I almost can't fault. So passing through Hassocks here, never been to the station, I wouldn't have a clue. So yeah, I can't really fault the training centre. But all these things collectively, I don't think they're worth 40 quid. Because, yes, it's a new engine, and I get that it's an updated version of the Unreal Engine, so it's the same engine but updated. But if they are able to have all the old tracks work in the new game, which they are, then is it really worth it? Like, is it really a big difference? The castle tunnel, because I don't think it is. I don't think it's a big enough difference. If you're able to run what you already have in the new game, then the engine is similar enough that you could just make that update on top of the game that already exists. And I'm not a game developer, maybe I'm missing the mark here somehow, but I'm fairly certain that other game developers have done this, where they've taken a game, they've gone, you know what, we want to upgrade the graphics, we want to upgrade this, we want to upgrade that. To do that, we need to upgrade the engine. Well, let's upgrade the engine that runs this game, and we will patch it over what's already there. I'm sure other game developers have done that, and I don't understand why Dovetail aren't doing it this time. All these graphical changes, all these improvements, you know, honestly it sounds more like a patch than it, other than maybe the training centre, it sounds more like a patch than it does a new game, at least in my opinion. Again, if I'm completely missing the mark, then please feel free to put a comment down below and, you know, call me an idiot. It's fine, or call me worse. I really don't care. But please try and keep it family friendly, because, you know, family friendly channel. But yeah, so that's one of those things that I kind of, as I say, I'm probably missing the mark, but I honestly feel like this is the sort of thing that you put in a patch. As I say, that training centre, in two minds about that. I get what they're doing there. Possibly it could be a thing that they could have done going forward, put that map in and then had everything new come in that way and building on top of what they've got there. You know, instead of having the training all in that one place, they could have had the trainings on all new routes go to that one. A lot of the old routes aren't actually taking advantage of the new stuff either, which I get. I think with a lot of what they're doing, it would mean ripping up pretty much half of the route and starting afresh. And you know, I get that there's a lot of routes to do that with, and it's probably not the best use of their time, because it can work in the game anyway, and people will more than likely be playing the newer routes rather than the older ones. I'm honestly struggling to figure out whether this is worth it. And then we come to that final cherry on the cake, don't we? The routes. Now, the routes that we're getting, there's a German route, which honestly I don't have much interest for. It is the longest route they've ever done in Train Sim World, in the Train Sim World franchise, actually, which is exciting. I think there's over 100 kilometers of track. They've got the let's see, I'm fairly certain I butcher this. I keep calling it the Cajon Pass. Is it the Cajon Pass or something like that? Which is in California, America. Again, I mean, I've played it on Train Simulator Classic, and I felt bored. It's a lot of desert. I know there's more to it than that, but there's a lot of desert. Yes, there's tough gradients and everything, and a lot of people have a great love for that. But then again, if you wanted to play that, maybe, I don't know, it'll be hopefully better on Train Sim World anyway. But there you go. That's my opinion on those two routes. And then we've got the British route, the one that interests me most, and that is the Southeast High Speed. Now, this might come as a shocker to those of you that play Train Sim World 2 and know a bit about that, but haven't actually looked at Train Sim World 3 yet. Because Southeast High Speed is a route that is included in Train Sim World 2. But instead of it only going as far as, I can't even remember as far as it goes, to be honest, they're going to actually add in you can drive all the way to Ashford International now from London, without having to pass over to sort of normal track. It'll all be high speed track all the way. and that's exciting. And they're adding in new services and things like that, and yeah, that's all exciting to me. But that, again, could that not have been added as a route extension to the pre-existing route? Because what we've got already is still there, but they've added so much more onto it. I think they might have ripped it all up and started again so that it's all, you know, new lighting and all the rest of it. I don't really know, but it just feels like they're publishing something we already have and adding a little bit to it and calling it a new product. And that, to me, doesn't feel like a particularly good choice. If that's what you're buying it for, I don't know if it's worth 40 quid. I really don't. And there's my issue with it. It feels to me like they could have packaged all 3 of these routes for what, 15, well, what did they, it's about £20 a route, isn't it, usually? So they could have published these routes £20 a pop. So if someone really wanted them, that's £60 they could get out of people for all 3. Not just 40. And you can pick and choose which bits you actually want. Yes, I know you can pick and choose because they've got different packages and you don't have to buy the whole package. But most people will, because that's what's easiest to find on Steam. But right, this is where I get off and don't. This is final stop. Now, I have been to Brighton in a previous video. There's not much difference between this version of Brighton and the version of Brighton we get on the East Coast Way. So go check out my East Coast Way videos, links down below, if you want to explore Brighton. So I'm going to wrap up quickly because this is taking longer than I thought, and we're here now. Yeah, it feels like they could have done it in terms of sell the routes and patch the game over, which is exactly what they did when we had all of the improvements that came with what this route came in, which is the, my golly, I've forgotten what it was called, the Rush Hour expansion. So you added in, they added in the routes into this Rush Hour expansion, and that came with a whole patch for the game that improved everything overall, and they started adding these different things to the routes over time, and it all worked swimmingly. And it didn't feel dodgy or bad. It felt like they'd done the right thing, at least to me. But this, dressing up a few improvements as a brand new game, sounds to me like a money grab. And as I say, they could actually have made more money out of people if they'd have sold each route separately, maybe release them, you know, a couple of weeks apart or whatever, and then just patch the game over. Now, as I said before, I'm not a game developer. I don't know if that's how it works, but to me, it feels like that's how it should work. Oh look, bits of chewing gum. Quite a few bits of chewing gum. That's quite realistic, isn't it? I think that's an addition from the old one. But there you go. That's my opinion. That's how I feel on the matter. Now, it's available if you're on Xbox. It's available on Game Pass day one. So pick it up. Might as well. It's not going to cost you anything extra. I'm not sure if that translates over to PC. Kind of hoping it does, and then I'll pick it up and see whether my critiques now and here are really valid ones. That's very 2D. I don't like that. But in general, I'm not convinced. And Dovetail have to convince me. And with that, I'm going to end this video. Thank you for bearing with my ramblings right up until this point. If you like what I've done here, and you feel like I deserve it, please give us a thumbs up by hitting that like button and consider subscribing. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.